wherever it feels like black people are being equalized or whatever, they feel like, no, this is not for us. We want to move. Could we argue something like that?
Well, one could say that, but also there are communities which do not want to integrate. You know, the Chinese do not integrate.
Correct.
Most communities do not integrate.
Yeah.
It's primarily...
A lot of the communities in South
Africa. It's mainly
Africa.
black people who want to integrate with everyone.
I don't know if they want to, but hey, Gumnandi, on the other side, it looks lekker there.
Yes. So
I don't know if we intentionally want to integrate or if it's circumstantial.
It's not only... We want to go to white suburbs. We want to go to white suburbs.
It looks good, is what I'm saying.
We want to go to white schools. Oh, our kids are not allowed to, to come and study in Afrikaner schools. So we're always going to them. They're not coming to us. Yes.
Yeah, but it looks better there.
Yes. So they're starting their own communities and they're working in their own communities. But what I'm trying to say here is that this myth of greatness by Afrikaners is not a new thing.
The other important thing you're highlighting is that this whole concept of feeding us started after they shifted black people off their land where black people were growing their own food.
Of course.
And now all of a sudden we're feeding you. Well, you're feeding me with my land and my farm, which I was using to feed myself before.
Of course.
Okay.
Remember that Afrikaners took power in 1910 after they defeated the British around 1902 or 1904. So they only took political power in 1910 and established the Republic of South Africa. And then after they established the Republic of South Africa, they then started to enact these laws or these discriminatory laws.
Which they've always wanted, which is why they left the Cape in the first place. They're like, you guys fucked up, we're going to fix it.
And you know why? In 1913, they could not compete with our ancestors. That's why one thing that makes me angry is that when you look at our ancestors, they owned land. They were entrepreneurs, highly educated. They went to the US, they went to Britain, they went to study, went into ships, came back here and started their own businesses. So Afrikaners, because they were uneducated, because they were poor, some of them were in concentration camps, British concentration camps.
That's correct.
Our ancestors were leading. They were the first, and now our generation is the last. So when I look at people who look at Traore, I always say our ancestors, they managed to self-actualize without any government in place. So for me, these are distinctions because without all these laws that Afrikaners enacted, they would not be able to compete with black people.
Okay.
Yes. So
you needed laws, Baba, to have an unfair advantage.
Yes. So now they are complaining.
Because like on like, you feel oppressed.
Oh, yes.
No Kalelo Trump.
Yes. Look at Solplaki. Look at George Munsiwa. Look at Pixley Sakaseme. Look at Mangena.
Oh, izinkunzi zangempela.
Yes. You look at all these people. These were men who were proud. These were men who were educated. These were men who were building their communities. These were men who, in short, many of them were even representing their communities. I mean, if you look at the formation of the ANC was formed by lawyers who were all representing their tribes. So for me, Afrikaners, I actually feel sorry for them. Because they cannot go anywhere, they're stuck here in South Africa. And now, because one also has to take into consideration the English and Afrikaner distinction, they always have to run somewhere. So for me, I actually feel sorry for them. But as I said, I applaud them because...
Standing up.
Yeah, I applaud them because Afrikaner lives matter, but they do undermine us.
Shame.
But then if those guys, and what you're saying about the guys who formed the ANC, they came from... they were part of the kingships in those villages that they come from, most of them, that the people you mentioned, royal families. Then why then is there a fight to assimilate to whiteness and be part of the white community and not necessarily that we want to stand on our own? That's the thing that always puzzles me when it comes to the formation of the ANC.
But these guys were educated, as Phapano said. Some of them, Abo Pixley, studied overseas. That's what they know, like a Tabombegi.
I hear you.
So that's what they'd want here, and because they'd experienced some form of integration then.
Instead of standing on our own, we can do it.
What does standing on our own mean? Wearing a peshu and having income, which is what they didn't know.
Are we doing that now as a generation?
But the founders of the ANC were not doing that. They were educated, spoke with English.
Yes.
You wanted them to want something that they're not living.
Oh, okay. So that assimilation makes sense because they come from
It's what they
the
know.
studied environment says, I want to become like them.
No, they were that.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were
Okay.
black English noblemen.
And it was the very British that enabled them to self-actualize.
So they liked the
yes,
British.
I mean, not that they liked the British at the time. Remember, they are products. Our forefathers are products of their own time. But also look at a typical South African man, a typical African man, a typical South African woman. We want to look like white people. You know, we are doing BBL. It's not like we are attempting.
Okay, maybe not
you know?
BBL. Let's say bleaching.
Oh,
Because
yes.
white people definitely.
Yes.
That's not assimilation.
Oh, yes. You've got black women who are bleaching.
By relaxer and those things.
So our forefathers, as much as they saw themselves through, the British aristocracy and so forth, they went back to their communities. They opened schools. Look at Dube, the first president of the ANC.
Langal Balele.
Yes, he had a school in KZN. You look at one person that people don't speak about, George Dick Muntsiwa, and the Barolong in Mafikeng, what they did for their communities. So here you are talking about people who did not only go and study, they went to study, came back
they
and
showed
changed.
results.
Yes, and they changed their communities.
Maybe one of the failures of the apartheid government and the Afrikaners, that they couldn't show black products, black Afrikaners, who are proud farmers, who are proud to speak Afrikaans, so that those black people could then protect what Afrikanerness means. The same way we'd protect the English language in 76 and those kind of things. The British were very good at what they did.
Yeah.